So in this video we will be recording the practice questions related to cost of capital. The practice questions that we will do are questions that are at the end of the chapter in your recommended book. So question number 1. The company's currently outstanding bonds have a 10% coupon and a 12% yield to maturity. Believes it could issue new bonds at par that would provide a similar yield to maturity if its marginal tax rate is 35%. What is user's after tax cost of debt? So in this question you are supposed to calculate the after tax cost of debt. The formula for that is after tax cost of debt is equal to the before tax cost of debt, which is represented by RD1 minus the tax rate. Now they have given you two rates in order to confuse you. One is the 10% coupon and the other is the 12% yield to maturity. YTM is the total return that your investor will earn if he holds a bond till maturity. So 12% is the correct interest rate, the cost of debt for the company as well. It will be the total cost that the company will have to bear. So always take YTM whenever the coupon rate is also given to you. The YTM is 0.12. 1 minus the tax rate, which is 0.35. So if you solve this, your answer will come 0.078. Converted into a percentage, so the after tax cost of debt is 7.8%. This was question number 1, and I'm skipping question number 2 and going on to question number 3. Percy Motors has a target capital structure of 40% debt and 60% common equity with no preferred stock. The YTM on the company's outstanding bond is 9% and the tax rate is 40%. Percy CFO estimates that the company's WACC is 9.96%. What is Percy's cost of common equity? So they have given you the WACC and they're asking you to calculate the cost of common equity. So we will use the WACC formula to do this. WACC is equals to WD. So this is the weight for debt. Then we have the cost of debt, 1 minus tax. They say that there is no preferred stock. So you can skip the preferred stock and go directly, this is plus, to common stock. So the weight for common stock and multiplied by the cost of your common stock. So let's plug in the values. You have a WACC of 9.96%, so that is 0.0996. The weight for debt is 0.40. The YTM is 0.09 and you have a tax rate of 40%. The weight for common stock is 60%, so this will be and we do not know what is the cost of common equities. This is what we are supposed to solve over here. So solving this whole thing can get multiplied, so we will multiply all of this and this is coming 0.0216. Now this is positive, on the other side it will become negative. This is 0.078, 0.60 RS. Now this is 0.6 is multiplying with the cost of equity. On that side, it will go into division. So 0.13 is the cost of equity, or 13%. So moving to the next question. Now, in this question, it tells you that Midwest Water Work estimates that its WACC is 10.5%. The company is considering the following capital budgeting projects. Assume that each of these projects is just as risky as the firm's existing assets, and that the firm may accept all the projects or only some of them. So you know that in this question you can accept more than one project. Which sets of projects should be accepted? Okay, so looking at the rate of returns and the WACC, whichever has a rate of return greater than WACC, those projects can be accepted. So that is still here. 10.3 and 10.2 over here, the cost of capital is actually more than the rate of return, whereas in the before one, the rate of return is more. So A to E can be accepted. Now moving to the next question. So in this question, it says the future earning, dividend, and common stock price for Carpeto Technology Inc. are expected to grow 7% per year. Carpeto's common stock currently sells for 23 per share. Its last dividend was 2, and it will pay 2.14 dividend at the end of the current year. Using the DCF approach, what is its cost of common equity? So first we will do part A. The DCF approach. The formula for the DCF approach is D1, which represents the dividend at the end of the first year, divided by the current stock price plus the growth rate. So let's look at the values that are given to us. The future earning, dividend, common stock price are expected to grow 7% per year. So the growth rate is 7%. Common stock sells for 23 per share, so the price of the stock is 23. Last dividend was 2, so this is D naught. The last dividend paid, so let's make a timeline. They're telling you that the last dividend paid was 2. It's already paid, and it will pay 2.14 dividend at the end of the current year. So this is your current year, and at the end of the first year, at the end of the current year, they will pay a dividend of 2.14. So this will be your D1. So we can plug in the values. D1 is 2.14, P0 is 23, plus the growth rate is 0.07. So if you solve this, your answer is coming 16.3%. This is the cost of common equity from the DCF approach. Now moving to part B, if the firm's beta is 1.6, so they have given you the beta, which is 1.16. The risk-free rate is 9%, and the average return on the market, so the return on the market is 13%. What will the firm's cost of common equity using the CAPM approach? So they're asking you what is the cost of this stock using the CAPM approach. The formula for CAPM is, this is the risk-free rate plus the risk premium, which is calculated as the market return minus the risk-free rate, and this is multiplied by the beta of the stock. So the risk-free rate is 0.09, RM is 0.13, and this is 0.09, and 1.6 is the beta of the stock. It's 1.6. Sorry, this is not 1.16. So the answer is coming 15.4% from the CAPM approach, the capital asset pricing model approach. Part C is if the firm bonds earn a return of 12% based on the bond yield plus risk premium approach, what will be RS? Use the midpoint of the risk premium range discussed in section 10-5 in your calculations. So the risk premium that was discussed in section 10-5 was that the historical studies show that the risk premium is somewhere between 3 to 5 percentage points. So the midpoint will be 4. The formula for the bond yield plus risk premium approach is bond yield plus the bond risk premium. The bond yield is 12% and the bond risk premium, because you're supposed to take the midpoint, will be 4%. So this is 16%. Moving ahead to the last part, which says if you have equal confidence in inputs used for the three approaches, what is your estimate of Arpeto's cost of common equity? So the three approaches gave us a different answer. The first one gave us an answer of 16.3%. The second one gave us an answer of 15.4%, and the last one gave us an answer of 16%. So it's telling you that you have equal confidence. So that means you can take a weighted average of all three values. So the average will be 16.3 plus 15.4 plus 16, and you will divide it by 3. So the average is coming out to be 15.9%. This is the estimated cost of common equity. Okay, so this is the last question that we will be practicing. 10-10. Close Outfitters Inc. believes that its optimal capital structure consists of 60% common equity and 40% debt, and its tax rate is 40%. So it's telling you that common equity weight will be 60% and the weight for debt will be 40%. And its tax rate is also 40%. Close must raise additional capital to fund its upcoming expansion. The firm will have $2 million of new capital of new retained earnings with a cost of 12%. So $2 million can be raised with a cost of 12%. New common stock in an amount of up to 6 million would have a cost of 15%. So 6 million additional can be raised but at a cost of 15%. This is the cost of equity. Furthermore, close can raise up to 3 million of debt at an interest rate of 10%. So 3 million of debt can be raised at a cost of 10%. An additional 4 million of debt at 12%. So additional 4 million can be raised at 12%. This is the cost for stock. So this is stock. And this is the cost for your debt. Now, furthermore, close can raise up to 3 million. Okay, we've read this. The CFO estimates that a proposed expansion would require an investment of 5.9 million. This is the total investment cost. What is the WACC for the last dollar raised to complete the expansion? So first we will see how will this 5.9 million be exactly raised. We know that 60% of this 5.9 million will be through equity. So 60% of this 5.9 million means that the total amount that will be raised through equity is 3.54 million. And we know 40% of this 5.9 million will be raised through debt. So that means 1.54 million will be raised through debt. Sorry, not 1.454, 2.36. 2.36 will be raised through debt. Now 3.54 is the total amount that will be raised through equity, and 2.36 is the total amount that will be raised through debt. We will see how will this equity be raised. So 2 million can be raised at 12%. First, they will try to exhaust the least expensive option. So they will raise as much as they can at the 12% rate. So 2 million will be raised at the 12% rate, and the remaining 1.54 million, the remaining 1.54 will have to be raised at the 15% rate. 1.54 plus 2 makes 3.54 million. So we have just divided how this 3.54 million can be raised. First, out of this 3.54 million, 2 million will be raised at 12%. So this option will be exhausted. Once this option has been exhausted, then we will move on to the next one, which is 1.54 million. So that will be raised at the 15% rate. So now we have used common stock. We do not want to raise more than 3.54 from equity, because that would mean more than 60%. They've already told us that 60% of 5.9 will be raised through equity only. Now moving on to debt. From debt we need to raise 2.36 million. Then we can raise up to 3 million at a cost of 10%. So we will use this option only. So this whole 2.36 million will be raised at the cost of 10%, and we won't even go to the other one. We won't go at the 12% rate over here, because we can raise all of the amount at the 10% rate. So now we can calculate the WACC. So let's put in the WACC formula. So we have WD, which is weight of debt, multiplied by RD, 1 minus D. Now we have two types of common stock. We have retained earnings and we have new stock. So this will be represented for retained earnings, RS. And the weight for common stock, but this time we are interested in the cost of new common stock and the weight of new common stock. So the weight for debt will be 2.36 million will be raised through debt, and the total project cost is 5.9. So 2.36 divided by 5.9. This is the weight for your debt. The total project cost is 5.9, and out of this 2.36 million will be raised through debt. So you can get the weight by doing this, which will come out to be 40%. RD. The RD will be 0.10, because we are raising it this 2.36 at the cost of 10%. The tax rate was 40%, so this will be 1 minus 0.4. First, WC, and this is related to retained earnings. So retained earnings, we are raising 2 million 2 million out of 5.9 and at a cost of 12%. Then we are going on the cost of new stocks. So we are raising 1.54 out of 5.9 and at a cost of 15%. So if we solve this, this is 40%. 0.10, this will become 0.6 plus the weight of hair, which is 0.33898, 0.12 plus 0.2610 and 0.15. So if you solve this, your total answer should come 10.38%. This is your WACC, weighted average cost of capital.